That's basically what it comes down to. Rancho Bravo to the rescue. So, not on the pole, not on the gimbal. I'm old school. I'm just holding the phone. And, you know, I was going to have kind of like a little AMA thing going. And ask me anything within reason. And we'll do an AMA. That's what I'm actually moving to do. So, oh, wow. I could just sit right here. Let me take a seat. And we'll do a little AMA action. And then I think I'll probably head home. And go see my puppers. All right. Wow, Messenger's blowing up. Oh, wow. I didn't even think about this. Okay, so I'm totally good. I had to shut it down and find the bathroom. Serious. That's what it was all about. I was so in, like, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And it was just like, oh my God, I have to pee. So this is probably why Messenger's blowing up. I'm totally fine. If I scared the shit out of people, no pun intended, sorry. I just had to find the bathroom. And Rancho Bravo to the rescue. Thank you, security at Rancho Bravo, for not having me do an act of civil disobedience. I'm good. I'm good. Everybody, I'm good. I'm good. Oh my goodness. Everybody, I'm fine. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so yes, definitely. The EDM group left. The direct action group kind of showed up. I think they kind of marched within the group because I saw some in the group. The initial conversation was, yeah, I could follow along. If you were on that other stream, like, you know, you heard, like, yeah, I could follow along. And then there was a decision made that, no, not following along. So it is what it is. I walked an alternate route. I basically got over to Cal Anderson and, like, I had to find a bathroom. That was just it. I just gonna explode. And Rancho Bravo saved my ass. And that's why I was just like, I'm shutting the feed off. I'm just shutting it off. I gotta find, I guess I just should have said, like, I gotta find a bathroom. It's tough because of COVID rules. You know, a lot of places are closed. And then a lot of places are open, the public restrooms are closed, either because that's their policy, because it's just too much of a pain in the ass to clean it, or because of the state regulations it's supposed to be closed. So it's hard to find a bathroom. That's just what it comes down to. All right, so anyway, I'm really good. I don't know who Bonnie is, but okay. I went to Cleveland High School. Is that still around? Well, I don't know. And the reason I say I don't know, I've lived in Seattle for 20 years. I think Cleveland High School is still around. Someone else can comment on that. Well, Wendy, all you see is one dude right now. I can hear the direct action group. I can hear them in the distance. Deleted truth. I don't know. These comments are weird. Am I missing something? Because I wear my mask. Because by state law, you're supposed to wear a mask. It isn't like wear a mask unless you don't feel like it, or wear a mask you're by yourself. You can see plenty of videos with my full face. They're in the archive. I'm not hiding anything. Right? There's like hundreds of videos. And there's videos out the ass from before COVID. So if you want to see my smiling face, you can go whole smile. Yeah, I heard about concrete. I mean, I heard about converts, so. Well, that too. I do have the cloth mask off because it rained a little bit, and when I noticed it was damp, and that's when it's no bueno. If your outside mask is damp, it's like, it's got to come off at that point because it's not doing its job. That's when the bad stuff starts clinging. So I took off that other one. I don't know. Let's see. What if anybody else got something to say? I'm gonna go like this. This is just easier than holding that up. Oh, can I prop this up on something? Usually I'm. Does that work? Oh, that does work. All right. I think the direct action group is on the other side of Cal Anderson. I think I kind of hear him. Oh, on conversion concrete, the direct action groups chase them off too, I guess. That's what I understand. Well, there's actually people that are walking around back and forth, and again, it's the it's the state law, so I'm just gonna wear the mask. I don't know. Someone's finally asking me. I've been asking all night, I need a laugh clip, and someone just messaged me to say, did you get a laugh clip? And I'm thinking to myself, it's like, I'm getting ready to go home. But if you're watching on the stream, oh yeah, I definitely hear the direct action group. I tried to stand off, actually, Kimber. I tried to kind of hang about a block back, and someone walked over and just was like, no. And I'm like, all right, fine. There's no sense in pushing the issue, right? It's clear it's a battle I'm not going to win.
Fuck the police!
I have my views. Okay, well, sure. See, and there you go. As I said, people come by. Yeah, I know some areas it's weird, and I know some areas that are getting hit hard. Oh, wait a minute. It looks like, wait a minute. It looks like some might be going down in a different spot. Here, bear with me here. Yeah, the direct action group is definitely closer and getting closer. Now you get to see the scene behind the scenes. There's a whole lot of like, hey, what's going on? All right, let me go back to your questions. can like ask me stuff, you know. You just ask me stuff. Just don't be an asshole in what you ask me. We're still writing? I don't quite understand the comment. I don't think it's not that it's fading, it's things are moving into a second phase. Things are moving into a second phase here. And I think things have been moving into a second phase for a while. Right? You see all different things. And I know people pop on, like they just see one stream and then they just conclude that that's maybe the whole story just based on that one stream. Hey, what's up, man? They just say, like, hey, you know, they just kind of try to base everything just on that one stream. And that's not really, you know, what the situation is or isn't. And like you have to watch it in its entirety, and it's a very complex story, and I feel very honored that I get to document this history that's going on. If you watch, like, I know this was the evening, right, EDM tonight. If you watch some of the earlier ETMs this week, very different from kind of this celebration. I mean, it's really what it was. This was a massive turnout in the celebration. Yes, 2 middle fingers to Ike's and the ownership of them. But there has been this second phase where there's been this sitting down with city councilors and having very deep discussions. And I got to tell you something, you know, there are not a lot of haters on, right? It's funny, the haters don't stick around for the AMA. You notice that? They're just like, we don't want to stick around for this, because the haters are just watching because they want to see shit get broken because they get off on it. And if you were on the earlier feed tonight, right, when the EDM march ended, and then like the music started and the dancing and the entertainment, all the haters left. They all left. Did you see that? Right? They were kind of like, what the fuck is this? And it's like, this is a protest. What were you expecting? Were you expecting hatred and anger? The only people expressing hatred and anger over and over and over and over again are people from the other side. So I'm Gen X, and I got to tell you, like, I know I have millennial. I know actually a lot of my demographic is older millennials, because Facebook gives me this stuff. I'm sorry, Gen X, we generally hate you millennials. We really hate, but we're with you on the boomers. We hate the boomers. We kind of hate you. But Gen Z, I gotta speak for Gen X. We are so freaking impressed with you, Gen Z. We are so impressed. You are super motivated. And I listen to some of these people talk respectfully to the city leadership of Seattle, and they ask really informed questions. Really informed. You know, like, can you explain these budget line items on here? And, you know, you said that you were going to reduce this by X percentage points, but the line item is this number of millions, and the percentage of that is this, so that's only 3%. So then how come, you know, you told us one thing and now you're advocating this, and you didn't sit down and talk to us about it? It's like, holy crap, these people are like 20. Some of them are 20. I was at college at 20, but I wasn't thinking this way. You know, TK is a millennial, technically, right on the line. TK's 27. Millennial's like 26-ish. It's like millennial, Gen Z, that's like the line. TK is a millennial. And TK's smart. You know, you can kind of froth at the mouth, or TK is fucking smart. There's such a bright spark there. So much potential. And I know people like, TK should run for office, right? TK also has the wisdom to go, I don't want to put myself through that shit. Yeah, the DA folks are getting closer. I'm in what you would call CHOP. Well, I guess this is CHOP. This is technically CHOP. I'm in what you would technically call CHOP. I'm right on the edge of Cal Anderson Park, and that's where I'm at right now. And so if you hear that kind of in the background, that's the DA. That's the DA folks. They're getting closer. I don't know if ultimately they're going to come all the way down here. They generally kind of stick around, with what I've heard, to this back corner, the opposite corner where I'm at. I'm getting questions. Like, I was the one going like, hey, what's going on? And now people are asking me. Bear with me here. Anyway, I'm back. Earlier we were talking about your involvement working with the unhoused population and what capacity you work with unhoused folks, and what is your social work background? I actually don't have social work background. I was volunteering. I was very heavily involved in the Occupy movement. Surprise. I don't think some people are going to be surprised by that. I was involved in the Occupy movement because I was just simply outraged at what corporate America and the large banks had done, and they did it and got away with it, right? If there's any, there's some people, James DeMond, friggin' Chase Bank, like that motherfucker should be rotting in a very, very deep, dark jail cell right now, right? That's where that guy should be, among with others, and none of that happened. And so, in the early days of Occupy, it's a great question. The early days of Occupy, things felt very much like the start of CHOP, and then the same thing in CHOP. I saw a lot of the same mistakes that were being made in CHOP that were made in Occupy. I saw a lot of the same tactics that the police used to break the back of Occupy being done to break the back of CHOP. Identical topics. I was pretty far down the rabbit hole in Occupy. I traveled to Houston to help them out. I went out to Honolulu, and then Honolulu was the last trip I did. They actually were super organized out there. And then I worked up in Everett, Washington, and I was one of the principals there. And so we had a pretty long stand. It was the second to last Occupy encampment in the entire country. Tacoma was the last one. Tacoma was the longest running one. And so it was there that I was working with people who worked in social work and got this, sorry about that, the phone fell, got, this firsthand look down that rabbit hole, and I kind of talked about what was going on there, and it just was an incredibly frustrating experience. And what I found with the unhoused was, if somebody is unhoused and say, I think one of the most critical things if somebody gets unhoused is to get them back into a house as quickly as possible. It seems as though you get into this 3 or 6 month window of being unhoused, and then you kind of get, I don't want to say institution, it's not, because you're not in an institution, but you get into the cycle where it's hard to go back into society. And then you reach this, and the other thing is the trauma of being on the street. You can't sleep. You are under constant anxiety. You are under constant stress. You have PTSD. And so a lot of these people, they start to self-medicate, drugs, alcohol. And I gotta be heads up here. So they start self-medicating with drugs and alcohol and other stuff. And then it just spirals out, right? It just spirals out. And so DA folks are pushing a little closer, and there's just some other activity going on around. And it just was so frustrating, right? And there was these 24 people, because what Everett police were doing is the same tactics they did in other Occupies. They were literally dropping homeless people off at the occupying camp and going, here, they'll take care of you, right? And it's like friggin' November in Everett, and you're trying to deal with people that are critically mentally ill and alcoholic and drug addicted and have other issues, and you're trying to help them in this impossible environment. We're not really equipped with it. And so we worked with the city and we worked with the county. We tried to get them resources, and it was just all a colossal failure at the end of the day. And I could have this whole other conversation on Occupy, and I want to rattle because it just turned into an all-night discussion. But, you know, Occupy, I can only speak to what happened in Seattle. I can't say for the other ones. But basically, the moderates within Occupy got pushed out. There were people that created kind of their own agenda. Very similar things that kind of happened here. There were organizers at CHOP that showed up here that were originally involved with the Occupy movement, and there was part of me that was going, good, maybe they learned from their mistakes, and maybe they would counsel them on, okay, this worked and this didn't. And what I saw was them going down the exact same frickin' path and making the exact same mistakes, and it's like, you didn't learn a damn thing. So anyway, Ron, well, it depends where you are in the Midwest, because we've streamed protests from Lincoln, Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska, Indianapolis, Indiana. We streamed a protest just a couple of days ago. That's as middle of the Middle West. I mean, come on. Omaha, Nebraska. I lived outside of Sioux City, Iowa for a while. Omaha, Nebraska was civilization. That was like, let's go to a real city for the weekend. It would be Omaha, over Sioux Falls, because Omaha felt more like a real city than Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Sioux Falls, South Dakota, closer. That's as the middle of the Middle West as you can get. And we know that there's action going on actually in Indianapolis, like on the daily. Austin's got a ton of stuff going on. Austin is a super active city. You just have to know where to find the streams, but there is a lot of stuff that's going on. You know, I got mixed feelings on Cliff. Cliff is one hell of a scientist. I love how he explains the weather. But it just seems as though, I don't know, it's like the older he gets, he's getting like real cranky, right? He's kind of turned it into that angry uncle. You know just what I'm talking about, right? And I know there's Cliff Mass fans that are just kind of like, I can't deal with it anymore. And he, you know, I hate the term, stay in your lane. I hate the term. But there's some stuff that Cliff Mass has written about, and it really is kind of like, dude, just stick to the weather. I respect his angle on climate change because he is a scientist. And here's the thing. This is why when John McCain was running for president, and people on the, the political right were just kind of like, we're doing this green, why are we gonna do this green stuff? And he said this thing was so wonderful. He's like, let's say we're wrong. Let's say we're all wrong. There is no climate change. But we go and we build all these technology and patent it, and as a country we aspire to this and start creating jobs in industries and selling it to other parts of the world. And why is that a bad thing? Like, what's wrong with that? Like, dude, you get it, right? Because here's the issue. To prove climate change, we have to basically destroy the climate, because once you have enough data to go, okay, first of all, there's climate change, right? The only thing left to debate is how much are humans causing it. And Cliff he's not a climate change denier, but I get he's pretty far to the right on these issues. Anyway, I kind of get it. So in that respect, I'm just like, fine. But some of the other stuff he's written about, I'm just like, dude, what are you writing in this? You're like, no, stop. No, I don't. I don't know, Mark. I don't even, wow, that was a big ass rat that just went right by. Ooh, damn. Did you hear that? Those were rats, like, that was like Rat Fight Club. That mother moved. Rat Fight Club. It made me jump. Here, 1 second. All right. Well, let me flip back to the other. And I think I'm probably going to end this here. I keep saying I'm going to schedule a formal AMA. And the other thing I know I owe everybody is this. You know, the do's and don'ts of you know, being an ally. One of the things I say, and I guess I'll close with this, right? This right here, this is the best tool you have. If you want to be an ally to fight racism, and you want to be in an active role, not a passive role, this is the best tool right here, this. Because you can use this to document racism when you see it. Or you can use this to document a police action when you see it. But there's a right way and a wrong way to go about it. There's a whole side conversation going on. The crazy part is I can still hear him yelling over, and I'm kind of parked over there, right? So I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know. So, oh no, it was definitely 2 rats. There were 2 rats here in the bushes, and I think like one rat, like I just saw this rat kind of go by into the bushes, and it definitely, there was like another rat that was like, screw you, this is my spot. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and put this here, and then a little paranoid that my vehicle might have got messed with. There was some dude when I was getting out hours and hours and hours ago. Didn't quite fully set off my radar, but he kind of touched it a little bit, asking a little questions, trying to engage in a conversation I really didn't want to have. Definitely was fishing for what my beliefs were, you know, and I really didn't want to be part of it. Anyway. The one thing I like walking around with the pole is I do think if anybody's like, do I want to mess with that dude? I think when you're walking around with a 10-foot long pole, I think it's actually about 9 feet collapsed. But I think when you're walking around with a 9-foot long pole with what looks like a hook on the end, it's not a hook, it's the mount for the camera. It probably gets people to go, I don't want to mess with that guy. He has like veins sticking out of his forehead and arms, and he's dressed like a ninja, and oh yeah. I just had a paranoia. I'm like, did I leave my helmet somewhere? It's a nice helmet, it's comfortable. I wish Blick was open. I need something there. Hey, Jimmy. I see dicks in my future. We're gonna do the Lantern Festival on Sunday. I know that. There's gonna be Black Lives Matter there. The Lantern Festival is, I try to go to that every year. As a photographer, videographer, it's just beautiful, part one. But as a product of Gen X, right? I don't think a lot of people, Gen Xers, know this. Like early 80s, mid 80s, up to about 86, you kind of like walked around living like, could be vaporized at any time. I just hope I'm close. I don't want to be one of these poor blinded bastards scrounging around the 2nd and 3rd degree burns, dying over a week of radiation sickness. I'd rather just get evaporated. I mean, this is what you really thought. And, you know, we live with that. And interestingly, you know, there's this movie, The Day After, and that movie is such tapioca. It's such softball. And then the British did a movie, and that movie was Threads. And that movie is fucking like, holy shit. Like, Threads was the one that almost had me curled up in the fetal position. And then the Russians did a movie, surprise, surprise, called Diary of a Dead Man. Diary of the Dead Man's available on YouTube with captions. And that's a dark, dark friggin' movie. All 3 movies kind of tell slightly different stories. The Day After in the United States, right, tells this pretty compact story of maybe a month. You know, a month or 2 months at the most. Threads tells a story that extends for maybe 15 years. They kind of really speed it up to get to that 15 years mark. And Diary of a Dead Man maybe tells like a week, right? And the other thing is Diary of the Dead Man kind of starts about a week after the nuclear apocalypse. And we grew up with that shit. So that's why the Lantern Festival is important to me. I'm not trying to rewrite history. That's not the thing. You know, I think at the end of the day, if I were Truman and, you know, Roosevelt's died, now you're president, and here we're gonna have to let you know about this, and here are your options, and knew what they were facing, if they didn't use that option, I think I would have made the same choices. Tough choices. And I think at the end of the day, millions of lives, both sides. Because military planners are like, we're probably going to lose 1 million Americans if we try to go into Japan. And it would be millions for the Japanese, up to 6 million was the estimate. But the problem is, that generation's dying off. There's very, very few of the survivors left to tell their stories. And there's very, very few people that were involved in these decisions. There's really nobody involved in the decision-making capacity. They're all gone. Some of the people that were more in a junior level in the engineering and the building or the missions, a handful of them are still alive. And that's the concern, you know. We're fast approaching where there'll be nobody left alive who saw an airburst nuclear bomb. Whether that be in Japan or when airburst testing ended in the 60s. At least for the United States. Other countries continued it later than that. Sorry, my other hand is just between the pole and this, and I'm blocking half the camera. I think that's my cue. I'm gonna take my cue. Plus I'm almost to Dick's. If you're not from Seattle, if you're not familiar from Dick's, it's this burger place, and it's just weird. It's not that good, but it's weirdly good. It's a great place to go, like if you want to sober up. You know, you're like, oh my God, I need grease and carbohydrates. Great place for that. They take amazing care of their employees. They're amazing in how they treat their employees. And that's one of the reasons I like them. And I kind of want a milkshake. I think I earned it. I walked my ass off today. All right.